guys, for jumping on. I am Stephanie Johnston with Service First Mortgage. And I think I know most people, everybody on this call. Like I said, we'll have some more people join us. We've got a full RSVP list that's coming on here soon. And then we've got Nikki Watson, who I wanted to add to this call, who basically there's so much in short-term rental that has to do with design. And I was like, Nikki, we have to talk about this, and you have to tell everybody why it is such a big deal to make your short-term rentals and properties look amazing. So Nikki's been on HGTV and done a million things. She has so many different things going on in the world. I don't know how she gets everything accomplished, but she builds houses, she stages houses, she does, she has a nonprofit, she has a flooring company. I'm missing a bunch of things here, of course, but there's a lot of things she does. She's awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and let me get my screen shared here so we can go ahead and get started with all of the good content today. Screen 2. All right, so I've taught this class many times, and I enjoy teaching. I like to have some, different topics that anything to do with wealth building and real estate, or anything that, of course, would help our real estate agents or our partners, learn more about something that I know a lot about. And so built this class a couple of years ago. And over the last couple of weeks, I went in and said, you know what, there's a lot of things that need to change in here because so much has changed in the space since 2019 when I started my journey. So this is kind of a revamp of some new pieces to here. And then again, Nikki popping on with her, all of her knowledge and expertise. So I've got, let me make sure this moves. Okay, perfect. If you guys want to connect with me, and I've got Nikki's here too on Facebook or Instagram. I always love that because, I feel like social, even if we don't see each other every day, we can communicate, know what's going on, post obviously all of our properties and things on there as well. So if anyone's that, obviously I can send you guys this later. Got Nikki's a million accolades on here. So I think that's kind of awesome of all the places that she's been. So y'all can just look at that. That's a lot. That's awesomeness. So we've got her on there, and I'm going to kind of go quickly on some of these front slides, just, guys, and pop into some of the main content. Here's how you guys can connect with Nikki as far as on social, and then we'll have all of her contact information as well sent out. It's for anything you guys need in the realm of design. All right. So I started my short-term rental property journey in 2019. And in 2019, there were just very little data as far as programs and systems and things out there to help you in this space. And the thing that shocks me still almost every day is the amount of tools and things to help my job become easier in this realm, and the things that move every day in this space. And so every time I turn around, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Let's add this to here. And when I started my journey, I said I wanted to have 10 or 20, short-term rentals, all in vacation spots. And I wanted to have them, of course, my goal is paying them off. So I'm about paying them off by retirement, not tomorrow, but not taking any equity out of them, and just pay off, pay off, pay off. That is still my goal. Now I can say there comes to a point, because you guys know my main job is mortgage, not property management, that you got to outsource, you got to make your life easier, or you're going to get a wall where then you can't do 20 houses. I've realized that, right? I'm the one that wants to take over and do everything. We are at 6 right now, and I think we're at a good spot. And then my year is all about maximizing my properties, learning everything and anything about automation and making them easier. So as I go in that journey, my goal is to continue to share that with anybody that is also going along this space. And we're also going to be starting a mastermind group here later on to just each of us know different things in the space. How can we all help each other? So the other reason that I choose vacation rentals, I like them as a lifestyle asset. So I can use that property and go to there, but I can still get rental income off of it. So it's kind of a cool thing in my opinion. And I choose properties and places that I like to be. And it's a way that you can have a vacation home, have it subsidized and make money, but not have to necessarily live in, have that payment without having any rental income to help offset it. Everything I'm talking about, though, will play into also being short-term rentals in city. I just, like I said, specifically have to do with vacation rentals. So one of the most important things in this space to me is having your team. And there's one more person on this team that we need to add to this list. Again, ever changing, that is important. So of course, in short-term rental space, mortgage is key. We'll talk about that in a minute. A real estate agent that understands short-term rentals. And I know there's a mix of people on here. Some of you guys are agents and some of you guys are people that are in the industry actually, buying property. And so in that space, if you are a real estate agent and you want to learn more, you want to have this as a leg of your business, happy to help give you some more information on that. If you're someone that's looking for short-term rental opportunities, we have a lot of markets of expert agents that know what they're doing in that space. Because of course, identifying the property to get the max cash flow is super important. Financial advisor that understands the whole plan, and tax advisor is huge. We're going to go through why that is here in a couple of slides, because there's some big tax savings with short-term rentals. And the other one that I'm going to mark on here that I now do not do any of my houses with would be an interior designer. And why that is your houses need to be 100% look like they came off HGTV and look amazing if you want to maximize bookings. So obviously some of you guys can do that on your own. I don't have the time and I'm not as good at it. I'm okay at it, but I'm not going to be as good at it as Nikki is. So having those people in your corner to make life easier and also make our properties look better is 100% key. So identifying markets as far as, kind of where you want to be. So this can be done in obviously locally. So it can be anywhere from, any of the DFW suburbs or any other city that you guys live in addition to vacation spots. I again chose vacation spots because it's somewhere that I want to, go to, right? And I would say with that, think of that first, right? Because if the goal of this is to make money, yes, or have an asset again that's paid off that you like where it is, I think it's a marrying of those two things. So one of the things I can say that I did wrong is I love water, right? Everything water. If you know me, I want to go to the beach. I want to go to the lake. I want to go to anything with water. I mean, I'll go skiing or the mountains, but it's just with woods. It's not my jam though. I'm like, where's the beach? So that's awesome. But most of my properties are all in water. Well, if you look at what happens seasonality in those places with the amount that we have, I think that you've got to think, okay, summer and winter. If I've got a beach property, which beach properties are amazing. If you have a lot of beach properties, should you get something that has a more concentration of max income in the winter to offset that? Potentially. So think through again that, and we'll give you some tools that help you look at seasonality as far as that goes. And then the other piece to that is, again, it doesn't have to be something like that. People vacation to DFW every day. It can be small towns, mountains, local attractions, anywhere that you want to go as far as areas. So here's a list of just some places that people in, DFW, I like to say that, are common areas that people, buy houses. My houses specifically I have 3 houses in Crystal Beach, which is Bolivar Peninsula, Texas. It is right near Galveston, but it is kind of, I call it my country beach because it's a little bit more remote, but I like it for that reason. I can unwind, and we have an amazing property, actually 2 side-by-side houses on an acre, which is like impossible in most areas, but you can do it there. We have a house in Gulf Shores, Alabama, and then we have 2 properties at Cedar Creek Lake for lake rentals. And then we have a lot in Broken Bow that we're going to build on eventually. As far as mortgage license, I have a lot of states around the country that I'm actually licensed in. So if you go out to buy somewhere not in Texas, I can probably still assist you because we've tried to get licenses in most of the areas people here buy in. We do a whole lot of work on 30A in Florida, like Destin and Rosemary Beach and all that kind of stuff. We do a whole lot in Broken Bow, Colorado, just to kind of name a few. I put this in here and I keep waiting for this to be updated. And so my This is from AirDNA, which I'll explain. We'll go into what AirDNA is in a minute, but it's basically a tool that runs analytics on short-term rentals. And so they have this great, like, obviously very interesting statistic, and this is for 2022. What I'm going to tell you is I keep looking and Googling is what does this look like for 2023, right? Because I think the number of unique listings between 22 and 23 has like quadrupled and is much higher than this, but it still illustrates a picture of if you're going into specifically the short-term rental space, you must be unique, 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 unique. And we can do that in a million ways, but it is so important. So I'm going to talk about a couple pieces and then I'm going to hand this off to Nikki because this is her jam. But basically for property, you've got campers and RVs you can rent. I mean, I'm not going to rent that, but you know, some people that is their jam. That's what they want to do. Farmhouses, tiny houses, tents, nature lodges, yurts, treat houses, dome houses, huts, buses. Like you can get the sky's the limit on what you're going to do. Now I saw people doing yurts at the beach and all I'm thinking is like, I don't know. And a yurt's like that boho tent in a sense, but I just don't know about putting a tent on the beach in the summer in Texas and like staying there. I mean, I might stay there for some like pictures and then go back to the house. So not my thing, but definitely something that people are doing. I do think treehouse is awesome. I would go stay in a treehouse as long as like access was okay. You know, and some of these other ones, but you know, again, this is the type of stuff that people are coming up with, which is crazy. Do you want to mention too, if you guys have any questions, like put them in the chat. Diana, over here can put those in and be able to pull that up as far as answering any questions you guys do have. All right. So I pulled this up and another thing when we talk unique. So I sent this to Nikki and I think more people are seeing it now, but there is a property in the middle. Of course, this is voted Good Housekeeping's most unique Oklahoma. That property is called Away Hideaway. My agent actually sold him the house and legit, that is a slide coming from the third story of the property down to the bottom in the house. That is what that is. It is the #1 rented property in Broken Bow. Not because of any other reason, but the slide. They also did another one, I think, that they put a slide outside that has like a water slide situation and craziness, but you don't have to go to that extreme. I'm sure that was not cheap, but I put these things to kind of be unique. The first slide is also a property with a putt-putt golf at the beach where my houses are downstairs. Kind of a cool idea, right? I'm sure it costs money. It wasn't probably insane, but it's something that is a lot cheaper than making that middle piece. You know, when we talk about this, it can be, you know, obviously unique decors, theme, which Nikki's going to go through, amenities, pools, clubhouses, games, activities, fire pits, golf carts. We provide kayaks. We're actually renting a house with a boat that you can rent with the property, adding excursions to the house. All of that type of stuff is going to attract extra bookings because there's things for people to do. Fun fact also on that third picture, pickleball is the #1 search term in real estate right now. Kind of crazy, but that's the #1 thing. So I'm really thinking at some of our properties, no joke, we are going to throw a pickleball court in those. I need to get some cost on it. I think it costs a little bit more, but if it returns the money and that's what we need to do, we might be doing it. The other one I wanted to show you guys here is that top picture is a picture of a house at Cedar Creek Lake. So I look at like, that's my competition, right? What am I looking at here? I want to stay there, right? I love that. The house is so basic and average, but this backyard is phenomenal, right? So yes, that costs a lot of money to do that. You don't have to take it to that extreme, but you need to know if you're going to go in this space, what is your competition doing? So even if you're not doing these things, what are they doing as far as property? Because that's where your competition is going to look at, right? And we'll see where that is. This bottom one is actually, you can rent a whole town. And I actually was looking for the top picture when I was going through Cedar Creek Lake where our house is. And that popped up because I did like most expensive rentals. It's the most expensive rental at Cedar Creek Lake because you get a town. And I can send you the listing if you want it, but it's literally like, a saloon and a bank and a jail and this. And I don't think that they probably spend a ton of money on the structures themselves. The decor is super on themes. It is $4,000 a night, guys, by the way. So, not for everybody, but again, just there is a million ways to slice being unique. So I'm going to move this over now to Miss Nikki, and she is going to talk more on design trends, what's amazing for vacations, kind of some of the stuff she does in her world.
Yes. Well, thank you, Stephanie. This is already really good. Like I'm all into it. I want to stay at that town because it looks fun. You showed me pictures of it yesterday, and you can sleep in the jail. What? That's so cool. So I'm loving these themes. Of course, people, just like in real estate, everybody is looking at where they want to stay and they're looking at pictures first. So that's their first impression is what they see online. They're shopping a rental and you want yours to stand out. It doesn't have to be the fancy, crazy backyard that probably costs so much money, but it just needs to stand out from what else they're looking for. So I'll talk about a little bit about what designers can do for you or teaming up with a designer. I'm gonna tell y'all a secret. I feel like everybody's gonna hate me for telling y'all this, but I'm gonna tell you a secret of how to save money with a designer and how to make sure that you're standing out. So this is just something that I wanted to bring out to you guys about kind of what people are looking for when they're going into a rental. If you're in real estate, you know that open shelving is kind of going away, and we'll talk about some trends that are going away and staying, but this is going away for living because people don't feel like they have enough storage. So open shelving you're kind of feel cheated because you have to keep everything clean and dusted and it's got to be pretty and all the time. You can't put sippy cups up there. It just got to be cute. There's no cabinet in my house that you can open up and say, oh, it's so beautiful in here. I just don't have that. But for vacation rentals, open shelving is getting more popular because people don't want to dig through everything to find the dishes, the cups, and those kind of things. So if you're thinking about doing vacation rentals, and you have a kitchen, and this is a place to save money because you don't have to buy uppers and you can just do open shelves. So this is a good money saver. Still looks cool, but this is the way that it's going now. Instead of doing residential, you'll see more and more of this in vacation rentals. Vertical tile, very trendy, very popular right now. This is where subway tile is going. I think you'll see more of this in all real estate. You'll see this in homes and you'll see this kind of in vacation rentals. It looks cool. They do it in a color and it's different, a little bit different.
But again, it's pops to color. And the thing that I can do is you can do crazy colors, guys, in houses that you would never do in your own house. So our lake house has blue cabinets, like all of them, not just a couple. The whole house is blue. And then I have an orange front door. Like the cool thing about some of these on decor is you can go crazy and Nikki will help you get there. And you can pick some really bold things that stand out in pictures.
Yeah. So. And people are looking at that. So they're looking at how it looks different. Hiring a designer, I feel like, is going to give you the advantage in the return on investment. So I've done probably over 100 Airbnbs, so vacation rentals. There was a company of guys, they were under 30 and they lived in Denver and they were going from city to city doing arbitrage. And I don't know if you're going to talk about that, but that's basically another way to do Airbnb. And when they got to Dallas, they had just left San Antonio and they did 100 units, apartment units in San Antonio. They came to Dallas and they did 65 with us. So every Tuesday was our Airbnb setup day. And we did 65 apartment units for these young guys. And they probably in 15 cities. So they were just going from city to city, setting up all these apartments. So during that, I learned a lot about the hospitality side, the design side of doing vacation rentals, and it opened my eyes completely different. Like Stephanie, she is down by the lake, so she likes water. If you're just going to the thrift store and you're going to pick out the stuff and putting it together, and you're like, oh, I got good style, which you may have good style, but you're not probably not thinking about the things that a designer would think about. You're not going to put a lot of fabric in this house if it's by the lake, because it's going to get smelly. It's going to get wet. People are going to sit on it wet. So you want to use more leathers and things that you can just wipe off, or that can breathe, and not just throw something in there. So designers are going to think about those kind of things. And though that's why you want to partner with one, and some, especially somebody that has experience. We've done about 15 properties, those mega mansions that they're building in Broken Bow. But we're also there's a lady that bought about 6 acres there, and she's doing Airstream. So that first category that was on that AirDNA report, it said RVs. So that's what she's doing, and she's theming each one of them out. So each Airstream has a different theme. They're a rock and roll, bohemian, a country, Elvis. So she's doing each one of the Airstreams a different theme, and she is going to sell these things like crazy, or keep them booked, because people want that experience. And I didn't think that was a thing, that people would actually rent an RV. Like, I don't want to stay in an RV, but it's huge. It is very popular, and people are really interested in doing that, which is
And on that to note, so like Nikki's done some like her stuff at the lake. She's doing like tiny homes. Like when you do that, you can do a 1 bedroom too. So it could be, and there's some cute ones at the lake where it's literally like a 1 bedroom. So it's not that much money. So this can be all different. You can have an 8 bedroom house in Broken Bow on, acreage, and you can go down to an Airstream, or you can go down to literally like a 1 bedroom, which I think is awesome down there, because you got to think the cost to do that is not expensive. So this can be any way that you want to slice it. And there still is opportunity, which we'll talk about on the AirDNA slides, to have a 1 bedroom, because what if like there's some at the lake where there's 5 1 bedrooms next to each other? Well, what if I don't want to stay in the same house as you? I want to stay like almost in a hotel, but I want to have like a kitchen. There's a place for that. And then to backtrack a little bit, because it's in here and we always bring it up, but I don't have a slide for it. Arbitrage, what that means is someone that has gone to someone else to rent their property, and then they are Airbnb-ing or short-term renting it out. So the owner usually gets a little bit more in rent to send it to the middleman, and then the middleman does all the work, gets it knocked out, and then rents it as a short term. So that's how some people go in and scale and say, well, then now I'm going to have 100 properties. Well, they didn't have to put 100 down payments or, finance that or whatever. That is what that means. And it's something that is, I can explain to it more. There's positives, negatives, different things on that. And then there was one other thing that was super important I was going to bring up, but I'm sure it will come up here in a moment. Oh, when Nikki's talking about design, there's 2 things that I think are key. We've done properties that are gut renovations where I had someone help me pick out like everything in it, which I would 110% do this. And this was before I even knew Nikki, like years ago. But Nikki can pick out like all the finish outs. So when I say finish outs, your tile, your fixtures, your lighting, everything together, and get that knocked out in conjunction with the contractor. But then also, if the house is done, all the furnishings that come in that. And I'm sure she's going to talk about this, but normally if you have to get a whole section of furniture, you actually don't spend more money by going to a designer, because they're buying it at wholesale. And so then therefore they get the whole package and put it in. So the first 2 I bought in 2019 into 2020, or our other one was 2020 when we were putting this up. And I thought it was a great idea in my spare time to like furnish the whole house and put it together and build furniture, which I will never do again, in the middle of COVID with our kids at home. And y'all know what mortgage looked like in COVID, right? I thought I was going to like never look up, and I was just not going to make it. Like it was so bad. And so I vowed never again to do it by myself, because the amount of hours it takes to do it is just a lot. So just think through like what that is. And then I can say Again, when you do, I have a list of furnishings that you need for a property that include things like that you would keep for a kitchen. So when you outfit these properties, you're talking every single thing you need to live. So if you buy a blank house with nothing in it, you need to have your dishes and your linens and your towels and sheets and blankets in addition to all the furniture. You've got to have lamps, artwork, rugs, so just think through what that is. Or the other way to do it is obviously there are a lot of properties where someone else has done that for you and you can buy it turnkey and just move in. But on the financial side, we do show you what that looks like, just because you do need to allocate that because you can't go skinny on decor if it's a blank house. Yeah, at the lake house, guys, we're about to do this new one. There's 10 beds. I had an aha moment that I had to buy 10 mattresses. I was like, I don't, in addition to like the other furniture, and I was like, man, it's a lot. So just FYI.
10 beds. Oh,
I know. But hey, if you want a giant
that's
house
gotta be crazy.
that's amazing to have a huge group of people at, we got you on that. So reach out. So Nikki, I want to keep moving along. So on here, go through all your stuff that is out. What should we not put in our properties?
So this is just some trend stuff that's happening right now. Gray walls. I don't know if you guys know this, but gray walls and floors are out. It's been done for a while, and now we're moving away from gray and going back to beige. So beige walls, the stuff that we know and love that we've had before, accessible beige and agreeable gray and those kind of colors. So all that stuff is back. Barn doors technically are out, but the hardware for barn doors is still in. So you can still do sliders. They're just a little bit more modern. They're just not the crisscross that looks like a barn door. That's out. So, which that's been around for a while. And that's kind of the farmhouse style that we're seeing slowly go away. It's still going to be around, but that's going away. Waterfall, this one I'm really upset about because I love waterfall countertops. It's going away, which I think people are still going to do it for a while, but that is something that you'll see less of. Cold interior. So we're putting more furniture in. We're not doing like ultra modern anymore. That's kind of going out. Open concept is going away because of COVID, which is crazy. So people want more room. I mean, they want compartmentalized rooms. They don't want the open concept anymore because if you think about it, you have to have space to, everybody needed a workspace. They needed places to do Zoom calls. So this is going away. I call it the COVID effect. All white kitchens is going away. We're having fun with kitchens now. So painting the island, painting the lowers, doing color that is in now. So all white kitchens are going out and shiplap is going away, which shiplap is very affordable. Like it is cheap and it's a great way to do a wall, do something simple to a wall at a great price, but it's been around for a while. Our homegirl down in Waco made it very popular and it's going away.
Yes.
What's in wallpaper? Wallpaper. So they're usually, if you're seeing a Airbnb, a vacation rental that's getting booked a lot, they're going to have some cool stuff in there. And a lot of times that's going to be wallpaper.
We put wallpaper all over the new one.
There's so many options. The stuff is not like the old school wallpaper that we're
looking at wallpaper in my office. It's in front of my face.
Yes. See, it's perfect. And it just adds something to it. So it's not, you're not looking at just a painted wall. It is back. So plants are very popular. Arches are coming back. So arch doorways, in the hallways, things like that. That's coming back. Warm interiors. So no longer the cold stuff. Brass. So gold is back. Don't take it down if you have it. It is back. It is here to stay. Working pantries. We're seeing lots and lots more bigger pantries. I used to have a small pantry when I was in college. It was like as big as my body and it had like 2 shelves on it. But now they have whole rooms that are pantries, which is crazy. They've got these cool fridge drawers and freezer drawers. So you'll see more of that on the luxury end. Natural stone and concrete, that is big. So you'll see a lot more like concrete fireplaces and those kind of things, and then mid-tone wood. So wood is all in the kitchen. It's going crazy. So theme, we'll talk about themed Airbnb air
I love
vacation.
this. See, the
So this
Nashville, Dallas,
is
you're gonna stay there because you see that and you're like, it's so fun, but you're gonna see that house over the whole list and you see that as your
yes.
first picture, you're like, oh, I want to stay there.
I want to stay there. So this is the one that we did. We did this one in Dallas, down by Fair Park, which
Is that a painting?
it's a mural.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a mural. We had a lady come, and on the other side of the wall of the door, there's the Ferris wheel, the State Fair of Texas Ferris wheel. So we did a Fair Park theme, and because this house is in close to Fair Park, usually if people know about Dallas, they're not going to rent a house that's in Fair Park because they know what Fair Park is. But this house is always booked because of this room. Like this is the first picture that people see when they log on to get the room. It's not expensive, but when they see it, they're like, oh my God, I want to stay there. And then the house is nice. So when they get there, they have a good time, but that draws people in that don't know anything about,
What else I see
the
there?
city. The
I
other
see
one I found yesterday
shuffleboard.
on Airbnb. It is in Nashville, and so you want to make sure that people are having experiences. So this is a Dolly themed vacation rental. This was just in the hallway, but I thought it's so cool because it makes you feel like, oh my God, I've made it to Nashville. So you want people to remember. Of course, Instagram is a big thing. So you want places for people to be able to take an Instagram photo and post where they at, hashtag your place. So those are things that you really want to make sure that you're doing, is making people have memories in your vacation rental.
Yep, a
All
$1
of this
bit.
is
And
just a
I
part
see
of the
this,
experience.
Nikki, I see that games to shuffleboard in the corner too. You gotta have things
Yes.
to do. So we've been all
Yeah,
over
this is
that.
their game room.
The number of things that I sent to my house for like fun games and outdoor games and found things for the beach that like, even at the beach, because everything rust, I found cornhole that was 100% boards that were 100% plastic. I was so excited. Sounds dorky as can be, but I was like,
Yeah.
I can have cornhole at the beach now without it ruining, because you can't use the wood ones. They don't
Wood will
last.
ruin. I bought those
Little
by
things.
mistake and they rotted like
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly. So love it. Well, perfect. Well, I'm gonna pop through a couple other topics. Got about 20 minutes left here. All right. So here's kind of the other piece. So that's way more fun than what I'm going to talk about, but we got to know these things, right? Who can restrict short-term rentals? Who can say you cannot have one of these? Like, what's going on? And that's going to be the HOAs and the cities. So I'm going to give you some examples of what's happened in Dallas, Fort Worth lately. So if you didn't realize, last June, the city of Dallas outlawed all short-term rentals for anything that was not in a multifamily zoned area. Multifamily being defined as 2 to 4 unit properties, for that, or commercial stuff that's residential, like condos and apartments. Okay. And so those are acceptable. But if I go backwards to like a house being able to be rented in Dallas, the answer was no. Then fast forward to about mid-December, when it was going to take an effect, within a week of going into effect, they actually put a temporary ordinance to not allow that to go forward. So they blocked it. There were so many people that sued on it, and attorneys and Facebook groups and all the name thing. Currently, the ordinance to stop it is there, but there's an injunction, I believe it's what it's called, that's stopping from it going into effect. So know if you're going to buy something in Dallas proper, a city, you need to really research all this and be up, because you could be out the next day. And fines on these things, I believe, are like $1,000 a day. And Airbnb and VRBO will not let you put the property on there. Now, short-term rentals are defined as 30 days or under. 31 days or more is going to be, your 30 days more going to be a property that is long-term rental or midterm. Those are still acceptable. Also, like the city of Plano has got a temporary where you can't get more of them because of everything that had happened in those areas. So just be very careful. And then you're going to be looking for 3 main groups in here. Cities that allow it, cities that have banned it, and then cities that are silent. To me, the cities that are silent are probably the most concerning, in the sense of, will they ban it? And then they might grandfather it, or they literally might not like allow anybody and kick everybody out like Dallas. Dallas did no grandfathering, like everyone stop immediately or in 6 months kind of deal. So just be aware of that, can help you out with more in that picture, but that is definitely something to be concerned. Like New York City outlawed them lately. So you'll see like Airbnb and VRBO kicked all these people's rentals off. Like it's not a joke to work with. The other piece on that is the ones that allow it. So like Gulf Shores allows it. And so we have a business license. We're good to go there. Then my properties at the lake and the beach are county. If you own a county property with no HOA, no one can really ever tell you unless they vote in something in ordinances or something, you go into a city that you cannot rent your property. So I do have those. All right. So speeding along on here, how do we make sure properties can cash flow and make money? Right. And some of these topics that go quick, please reach out if this is something you actually want to do. And we're going to more dive into. This class is kind of an intro to everything. And then I have some more education stuff where we go specific. All right. So how do I know if this makes money on my property? I can do evaluating the current numbers for the owner. I can do self-calculation, real estate management sites or company estimates, and I can do paid sites. Well, if I've got evaluating current numbers, a couple things you need to think about that. Are they good at property management? Are they not good at property management? Do they do it themselves? Do they have someone do it? How much do they block off? So if you look at my properties at the beach and you're like, why didn't she make more money? We use them all the time. So of course I'm okay with that. But if somebody's looking at like max cash flow, they need to take that in consideration. Self-calculation. I put this on here because in 2019, there wasn't such all these sites and all these things and all this data that could tell you how much money you were making. We were literally taking calculators and saying, I think I can get this much per night at this many nights during the summer. And then I can get this much in the weekend and manually calculating all this craziness. I don't necessarily 100% suggest that. I use it as like a good basis of generalities, but we need to look at lots of these. Real estate management company estimates. So these are going to be property things that like, if you hire a property management, they can give you a pro forma of what's going to happen. Now, again, like Nikki said, this is a hospitality business now. This is not a side gig. This is, you are in hospitality. And I'm 100% for doing it myself. I love it. But then there's times in which some days I'm like, I kind of want to hand this to somebody. There is nothing wrong with hiring a good property management company. Make sure they're a good one. There's some really large nationwide ones that I would definitely not recommend. And then there's some other ones I would. So again, if you want recommendations for that, let me know. But you can call these people and get estimates for a subject property on what they think they can do. And they do this every day and be able to tell you why, like what you can make. Then there's also paid sites, which we're going to show to you on the next screen, that you can pay and get analytic data. My main thing on this is be careful on numbers and look at multiple ways and get multiple estimates and know that it is a high, low, numbers will change. This is not like I'm going to get a lease and it's going to be this amount of money. It just doesn't exist. All right, AirDNA is going to be the creme de la creme or the #1 site that's going to give you analytical data. AirDNA used to cost like $1,000, or something crazy. I don't know. It was at least a couple $100 a month a market, meaning like I want Dallas, I have to buy Dallas, then I have to buy Cedar Creek, then I need to buy Broken Bow. Like insanely expensive because it was the first company to do this. Since then, there's been a lot of copycats. Now you can get an AirDNA account that is nationwide that gives you a whole lot of data for like, it depends on if it's on sale, but $300 to $600 for the year for the whole world. So now it's affordable and we can use it as a good tool. Before you got to find another direction because I'm not able to spend that. And it's going to give me all of these things, property specific data, nightly rates, occupancy, etc. So here's a picture of what AirDNA shows you. And so AirDNA, I pulled up Broken Bow. So everybody in Dallas knows Broken Bow is last Town as far as a market. And the cool thing about this, it gives me the investability score. And to me, that's still pretty cool that it's 87% after everyone said that Broken Bow is like so overdone and it's terrible and all this. And you're like, but literally it's got an 87 and I have clients that are making money there. So say that again, you can make money in Broken Bow. You need to be careful on what you buy and what you do. And you need to have great contacts to get you there, but you can make money in Broken Bow. So this has got total revenue and a bunch of different things. Up here at the top, the thing I can show y'all right here, do you see where it's got 4K active STR listings? That is to me a very important number to look at. What is your competition? Broken Bow went from 1,200 homes to 4,000 homes inside 3 years. In Broken Bow with no infrastructure. So there's some catching up to do there. There's a casino opening in the next couple months. That's why we've got a lot there. I'm building Broken Bow, but I'm not doing it today. I'm waiting for some things to knock out. If you were buying an existing home, go for it right now. I think it's a good time to buy there. But it'll show you all this data, which is awesome, but I like this. Now, properties for sale, still want to know why it only has 28 properties for sale. It's not working properly, but it's a new feature that now agents, if you're in this space, you could actually market properties for sale inside AirDNA and work together as some of these sites can, which is kind of cool. Like look for, real estate opportunities. Next one here is market performance. So this is a screen that shows you. I want y'all to look at listings by rental size. 100%, another huge thing we need to look at, okay? How many rentals of bed and bath count are there? The people that I know that are doing the best have got big properties with a lot of amenities. Now, that doesn't mean that's the only way to go in Brookville. It's not. You can go one bedroom, still make a lot of money. But Crystal Beach, or my other house is, when I pulled this, 49% of the properties were 3-bedroom. So in Crystal Beach, I'm going to tell you that I don't think you should buy a 3-bedroom. I think you should buy something else because half the properties that are listed for STR are 3-bedroom. So if you have 4, you can rent to somebody that's lower, right? If I only have 3, I only have 3. Shows you where it's listed, like Airbnb, VRBO, both. Oh, sorry. There, I keep moving there. Okay. So rental growth over the last 3 years, like that we've come up, and here's where you can see rental growth, the number of properties. Again, 1,200, 2021 to current. And I think this was it. I did have the 4,000 number somewhere, but in general, like that's how much it's gone up, and then available listings. So know your competition. Other pieces here, this is going to be market performance. So this is occupancy rate, how long people stay. And I liked this, booking lead time. So even though if you own a home in a market, this is still good to know. Who else is coming into the market? What is this? And how far in advance are people booking? And it goes by month. So then if you're not booked and it's 49 days before that and it's here and they're longer term, do you need to drop your prices or do something to get that weekend book? The version I'm talking about has 3 years where you can see like, okay, what has this done between these different years, which is nice. Obviously 2023 is, market performance. People are making less than they did in 21. Well, we know that. We just need to also look at what you're buying because a Broken Bow home today, it costs significantly less. This shows revenue over the last couple of years on an average property. It gives you average rates, and you can divide that by like luxury, mid-range, low-range property. There's way more tools in here. Of course, I'm just giving y'all overview. And then RevPAR is going to be revenue by the number of available properties. So this kind of just shows like saturation and what you can still make on houses. All right, here's some other alternatives to AirDNA. It's like Airbnb and AirDNA, and I, need to keep those clear. They're very different things. So off this list, Rabu is free. Now you're going to have an agent that emails you almost everyday properties. So agents, if you're sending this to clients, just know that is. Now they're like in another area that has nothing to do with me that, but just know that happens. Matchvisor is another one that's really popular. I mainly use AirDNA and Rabu. And all the rest though are just different options. And again, I suggest clients getting more than one of these. There is more too. So if you guys, again, are going to go down this path, you have got to call me so I can give you specific information about AirDNA and what it's calculating in it, and then what it's subtracting back out. Like very, very important is to have these tools, but also know how to use them. Again, we'll talk about that later. This is stuff we can get you guys this out information. So just remember what I talked about, all the things you've got to spend. So you know, we've got to factor in that you've got to pay the property management companies, you've got to do utilities, property management fees, marketing, you see that furniture, decor, things of that nature. And then obviously what the tenant pays, which is going to be the hotel tax, which we can talk to you guys about what that is. You do have to pay a tax, cleaning fees, pet fees. And then some of these now with the race to be different, sometimes some of the owners are paying for some of these things for the renter, but this is the traditional setup. All right. So I'm going to go through this, and agents and people that I've got a class on this, an entire tax class, 30 minutes devoted to just this topic next Friday in my office in McKinney, if this is something you want to do. But I want you guys to just understand the basics of this. So there is a tax regulation that basically allows homeowners, when you purchase a home, to write off what we call bonus depreciation. And it allows you to take anywhere between usually 20 to 25% of the purchase price as a write-off the first year you own a home, specific to buying real estate. There is a more nuance on this that we're not going to get into today that has to do with real estate agents versus consumers versus investors and short-term versus long-term. It all plays into this. Everyone can benefit, but there's still some pieces to that that are a little deeper than what we have time for today. So this was a tax regulation that was passed in 2017 and was phasing out. In the last 2 weeks, this was voted back in to be extended until the end of 2026 for properties placed in service. Okay, so this is still a thing today. What this does is, I'm going to flip forward here, is, okay, what we're going to take is property is defined, and this gets a little granular. I'm going to give you this quickest cliff notes I can. Property is defined as things having an in life. So when something has an in life in the IRS's perspective of under 15 years, this tax regulation lets me take that entire amount in a tax write-off at year one, just because this is passed, okay? And with that being the case, I have, let's say that 20 to 25% of my home can be depreciated in the first year I buy it, specifically because of this tax law. You have to get what's called a cost segregation study to determine how much of the home is in that tax bracket, like 15%, or excuse me, that under 15 years. And when I say under 15 years, that's a paper loss, right? Because could a roof last more than 15 or under 15? Yes. Could like your appliances break or keep? Yes. Would you have to replace your carpet? It depends. But textbook, a lot of those things are allowed to be taken off. So if we just look at the big picture of what happens with this and then go backwards on the granular piece, let's say that you bought a $500,000 house, okay? And you had a low estimate of $100,000 you were allowed to write off by buying it versus a higher estimate at $150,000, okay? I had a property that I had upwards of 70% of the purchase and renovation, by the way, be allowed to be written off. So mine was 70% of $500,000. It was a lot. So I take these numbers and I can write that off. So it's a write-off, right? So if I have got a 24% tax bracket, that, depending on high or low, that's $24,000 to $36,000 in tax savings. Like that's a lot of money, right? If I'm a 32% tax bracket, that's $32,000 to $48,000 in tax savings. That's significant amount of money. So a couple reasons why I point this out. One, a lot of realtors and CPAs and investors and stuff don't know this exists. Number two, this might change you buying a property and the cash flow of a home. So if the cash flow of a home is somewhat marginal, right? But I can buy this and I can save this amount of tax, whether I'm an agent explaining that to a consumer or a consumer looking to buy, mathematically, that's completely game changing, right? That's way more than someone making $500 a month. Now, there's reasons why this isn't a short-term rental class. The short-term rental, there's more to the tax code as to it benefits you more if you were a W-2 employee and you're buying a short-term rental versus a long-term. So what I'm going to say on this is, again, I'm going to defer this to, I'm doing another whole entire tax class on this. For anybody that's listening to this, we're going to eventually do that over Zoom. So if that's of interest, please like reach out to me and I'll let you know when that is, because we're going to unpack this whole thing. But we want you to know that it exists and it's here. And I've got CPAs and everybody that can help y'all with this. So is that not exciting? Like, that's crazy, right? All right. So last piece we're going to talk about, and I've got 3 minutes and we started 6 minutes late. We can get this all in an hour. All right. So financing your short-term rental, and there's financing challenges and solutions and what that looks like. The main thing I'm going to say is the investors don't write guidelines, all the normal loans for short-term rentals. They write them in terms of long-term rentals, and on a short term, it's kind of silent on a lot of topics. So there's a lot of lenders that don't know what to do when someone owns a short-term rental currently or wants to buy one, and they don't know how to problem solve or think forward with, what do I do on this? The main challenge on that is when I buy a normal rental, which we love normal rentals too, and there's a whole place for that as well. I can buy that and I can get a 12-month lease, and then I have income. Well, then I can use that to, like, I bought it and I rented it. I buy another and I get a lease agreement and it covers, and I can leave a trail of property with no weight because I'm buying and leasing, buying and leasing. On a short-term rental, I don't have a lease, right? Unless you're arbitraging. And so with that being said, I've got a challenge in which, okay, how am I quantitating this? And what if I want to buy a second one? So there's some pieces to that. Some things that we do unique in this space is I can still use future rental income to qualify my buyers when I'm buying a house, number one. So we can still do that, okay? Number two, I've got a portfolio loan that is going to allow, after I buy a home, to maybe if you have 3 months of income off that, I can look at that and I consider that income. A normal loan, you have to wait until the next tax return is filed. So like, again, a whole another year to wait for tax returns to be filed. But on this one, I can look at, again, what I've got temporarily here. The other piece on that is I can use that AirDNA print off to show me what the rental income could generate or the property could generate, and we can consider that, which you cannot do on a normal loan. So this is kind of a different loan product in which we offer that. Then we have what's called a non-QM mortgage. This is like a new fancy mortgage terms that's come out. On this product, even if someone had no other income, let's say you went self-employed, you doubled down in real estate and you started last month and you're going to buy a short-term rental. I am only looking at the payment on the property and the AirDNA, and do they cover? Can you make enough money off AirDNA to cover the payment? And I can do a loan based on only the subject, and I can do that on short-term rental, which even people that, if you've heard these terms or kind of a more unique loan, sometimes they can do it, but they cannot do it on short-term rental. So that's specific to this. So we got you covered on that. I also bring up, done some reno projects. Now, hire a real good contractor, let Nikki help you. There's a lot to renovation, there's a lot to building. But we have financing that allows you to buy a home and add reno on top of it. So let's say you found that ugly duckling, and which there's a lot of those in some of these short-term rental markets that are a bit older, and you want to finance $200,000 worth of reno because you don't want to cash pay that. We can do that and add it to a 30-year fixed mortgage and have the same down payment requirements and everything, roll that in. And now we can take that property and create instant equity, generally speaking, and create it where it's going to maximize my rent because I can do all those bold colors, change everything, add that wallpaper, make that appropriate tile, all of that good stuff. That is an option of stuff that we do. The other thing we do is we do lot and construction loans. So if you're in a market in which that everything is 100%, like you're just going to buy a lot and you want to start over, we do that, and we can build and give you your dream home from scratch as well. And we do that for primary homes, second homes, and investment, jumbo and non-jumbo, which meaning like higher dollar amount loans or normal loans, all of those. And we do allow As long as it's common for the area, barn dominiums, log homes, cabins, all that type of stuff for construction lending, as long as they have comps, which is something else unique that we don't see a lot. So, very last slide, I promise. I'm at 11:02. So guys, we've got to get off. I understand, but we're almost done. Last slide here. What would I do different, right? So we've gone back. I have 6 short-term rentals. I've owned them since 2019, or, since then we've added to that. What would I not do, right? Systems day one, 1000%. I could do a whole class. We could talk about this for 3 hours. There are so many things that help your life to be easier in short-term rental. There's, contact management sites. There's platform things that like merge all of the calendars together. There's things that send auto reminders to the cleaners to come, and the making sure that the tenants get updates of everything happening on their stay. You can automate all these things, and that exists. The other thing that you can do is, with that, a lot of those come with direct book sites. So we love Airbnb. We love VRBO. VRBO sold a couple months ago, last year. And I can say that some things have changed, right? Just like how if you build a business off Facebook, or those agents who build off Zillow, what if Zillow decides they don't want to give you business anymore, right? The direct book and keeping contact for people and be able to have other platforms in which you bring in leads instead of 100% relying on those two, 1000%. I should have done that much sooner than I did. I should have done that day one in 2019. Just didn't know any better. Like I said, non-platform marketing. So where else are we going to get business from? Again, a whole conversation on what that looks like as far as getting, business from other places instead of just Airbnb and VRBO and booking.com. Those are great. You need all of those. But again, supplementing that with others. Outsourcing things that I'm not good at. That, for example, took me forever to get all my sites up and done because I work a lot. As y'all know, I take care of everyone else's stuff before my own. So I'm doing mortgage all day long. And with mortgage all day long comes, okay, I run out of time for some of the things that are projects that have to do with my own life. Outsourcing that, there is somebody that you can pay a nominal fee to do that piece of whatever that you are not good at or you do not have time for. Amenities, sooner and more of them. So, again, doing the pickleball court, the pool, even little things like Connect 4 and games and Xboxes and shuffleboards and ping pong tables, whatever it is, do those sooner to be there. Have a backup cleaning crew. We got left with the cleaner not showing up one time, and I will never, ever, ever be stuck in that position again. So I need my A-team cleaners, and I need to trust them, and your cleaners are so important because if your house is not good, they are your eyes and ears on the property, you're going to get a bad review. Bad reviews equal no one coming back. Hands down, you must vet and have people in backup cleaning crews. There's these actually platforms you can even find more cleaners. I can get y'all if you're interested. Then on here, is looking at the granular market research. Again, making sure what I'm buying. Like, okay, how many bed bathrooms do we have? Like, what's going to make the most money? What do we expect income to come in? Should I buy a 4-bedroom? Should I buy a 3-bedroom? Where should it be? All of that stuff we went through AirDNA. Like, be an information junkie and learn all about anything to know what to buy. Because again, selecting the wrong property, 100% different results. Other piece I'm going to talk about, and the last thing on this list, when you hire a property manager, will your reviews come with you if you change property management companies, or will they keep them? Something I did not ask on one of our property managements, we have one over in Gulf Shores that the property manager does it for us. And I can get half those reviews, but I can't get the other half. Now, expectations up front and co-hosting, it can be set up where I can keep them all, but you need to know that answer to that question right before you hire someone to help you. You don't want to lose 100 5-star reviews because you don't like your property management company anymore. So kind of a little important deal. So I'm going to end with that. I've got everything on here. Here's all of my contact information, guys, as far as info that you guys need. Reach out. Let me know if you guys need anything as far as, short-term rentals, getting qualified. You don't know what to do. You're an agent that wants to go through all of this. Here to help in any of that realm. reach out to Nikki, anything in the world of design. Also she stages a bunch at all listings for agents. That's her bread and butter. So anything you need in that realm as well. So I am 6 minutes over, but I started 6 minutes late. We are right on the dot. Thank you guys for your time today.